John stood in the middle of the alien arena, his body bruised but his eyes full of fire. All around him, tall alien warriors watched from their seats, whispering in their strange language. He had just defeated the strongest fighter of the alien Baron, a massive beast with 4 arms and skin like stone. John was the first human to do it. But instead of anger, the alien Baron laughed, his deep voice shaking the ground. "Impressive human," the Baron said, his sharp teeth shining. "You have earned a reward." John didn't trust this. Aliens were known for cruel games and twisted prizes. The Baron clapped his hands, and from behind him, 2 servants brought a floating chair. On it sat a girl, her body thin and still, her skin pale blue. "This is my daughter," the Baron said with a mocking smile. "She is broken, paralyzed, useless." The aliens laughed around the arena, their voices cold and cruel. "I give her to you, human, as a joke, a prize for your bravery." John looked at the girl. Her eyes were open, staring at nothing, but there was something strange in them, a spark, a light, as if her mind was awake, trapped in a dead body. John felt anger boiling in his chest. She was treated like garbage, a joke, but he could see she was more than that. "Why would you give your daughter away?" John asked, his voice sharp. The Baron shrugged. "She is cursed, a shame to my house. Better she serves as your burden." John stepped forward and looked closer. The girl's eyes moved slightly, just for a second, locking with his. She was alive, not just alive, aware. She was trying to say something, but her body refused to move. John made a decision. "I accept your gift," he said, "but I do not take her as a joke." The Baron chuckled. "Take her then, human. She is your problem now." John carried the girl gently in his arms. Feeling how light and fragile she was, the aliens watched and laughed, but John ignored them. He took her to his ship, a small human craft hidden outside the alien city. Once inside, he laid her down carefully. He spoke to her softly. "Can you hear me? If you can understand, blink your eyes." At first nothing, then slowly she blinked. Once, twice, John smiled. "Good, I knew you were in there." He brought her water and food, feeding her slowly. She couldn't chew, so he used soft liquids. Every time he asked her something, she answered by blinking, once for yes, twice for no. "What is your name?" he asked. It took time, but through careful guessing, he figured out her name, Alira, the cursed daughter of the alien Baron. But John didn't believe in curses. Something else was going on. He promised himself to find out what. John contacted an old friend, Dr. Mason, a human scientist living on a nearby colony. He explained the situation. A paralyzed alien girl? "That's dangerous, John," Mason warned. "I don't care," John replied. "She's trapped, and I think her mind is more alive than any of us." Mason agreed to help. They flew to the colony, keeping Alira hidden from alien eyes. In Mason's lab, machines scanned Alira's brain. The results shocked the doctor. "John, her brain activity is off the charts," Mason said. "She's not just smart, she's something else. Her brain is operating at a level I've never seen. But she can't move." John said, frustrated. "Yes, but it's not because her brain is weak." Mason explained, "It's as if her body was shut down on purpose, like someone blocked the connection." John's eyes narrowed. Her father called her cursed. But what if he did this to her? Mason nodded. "It's possible, or maybe someone else, but she's special, John. Very special." John looked at Alira, her eyes watching him closely. "I don't know who did this to you, Alira, but I swear I'll help you," he said. Alira blinked once, slowly, a sign of trust. But outside, in the shadows, spies of the Baron watched the lab from a distance. They had followed John, and now they knew the human had discovered the girl's secret. Soon, the Baron would know too, and he would not let his daughter's power fall into human hands. John watched Alira lying on the medical bed. Her body still didn't move, but her eyes followed everything. She was trapped inside her own flesh, like a prisoner inside a cage. Dr. Mason stood by the machines, his face serious. "John, I've never seen brain activity like this." he said. Her mind is awake, sharper than any human or alien I've studied. John crossed his arms, his eyes not leaving Alira. Then why can't she move? Why is her body dead while her mind burns so bright? Mason shook his head. I don't think it's natural, Mason said. It feels forced, like someone blocked the signal between her brain and her body. John's fists clenched. Her father called her cursed, but now I'm sure this isn't a curse. It's a prison. Alira blinked once, confirming she agreed. John sat beside her, speaking softly. We're going to find out who did this to you, Alira, and why. But outside the lab, shadows moved. Alien spies sent by the Baron watched everything. One of them spoke into a small device. The human knows her mind is awake. We must report this at once. Back inside, Mason adjusted the scanners. I might have a way to help her communicate better, Mason said. He connected a small neural device to Alira's temple. If her brain can send signals, this might translate them into words on a screen. The machine hummed, lights blinking. Then slowly, letters began to appear on the screen. I am Alira. I can think. Help me. John smiled wide, his heart pounding. You're doing great, Alira, he said. We'll help you, I promise. Alira's next message appeared. My father fears him. Mason frowned. Why would your father fear you? Another message. My mind can touch machines. I feel them. I can control them. John and Mason exchanged a look. Telepathy with machines, Mason whispered. If that's true, she could control ships, weapons, anything. Just with her thoughts. John nodded. And that's why the Baron paralyzed her. He didn't want his daughter to have that power. The screen flashed again. He feared I would rise against him. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from outside. John grabbed his rifle, his instincts sharp. Mason looked at the cameras. Multiple aliens approaching. They found us. John looked at Alira. We have to move, he said. Mason, get the portable gear. We can't leave her behind. Mason packed quickly, disconnecting the machines and strapping a small power pack to Alira's chair. She can still use the device to communicate, even on the move, Mason said. The door blasted open. Alien soldiers stormed in, their weapons raised. John fired first, his shots precise and deadly. He fought like a cornered animal, protecting Alira with his life. Mason pushed the chair, guiding Alira to the back exit. We need to go, now. Mason shouted. John covered them, shooting down 2 more aliens, but more kept coming. We won't make it like this, John muttered. Alira's screen lit up again. I can help. Connect me to the security system. Mason connected the neural link to the building's old defense network. Alira's eyes flickered. And then, turrets hidden in the walls powered up, firing at the invaders. The aliens screamed and fell. Surprised by the sudden attack, John smiled. You're full of surprises, Alira. They made it to a hidden tunnel, escaping the lab just before more enemies arrived. Hours later, they camped in a quiet cave far from the colony. John sat beside Alira, cleaning his wounds. Mason worked on improving the neural device. We need to help her reach her full potential. Mason said she could be the key to something bigger. Alira typed another message. There's a war coming. I can feel it through the machines. They are waking up. John's eyes narrowed. What war? Who is waking up? Old machines, old wars. I can feel them in the darkness of space. Alira wrote. My father wanted me silent, so I wouldn't warn anyone. John stood, looking at the stars above the cave. Then we'll make sure your voice is heard, Alira. He said, I don't care who your father is, or what he fears. You're not a joke. You're humanity's chance. But deep in space, the Baron received word of her escape. His eyes burned with anger. Prepare the hunters, he ordered. I want her back or dead. And so the hunt began. But John and Alira were not going to run forever. They were about to fight back. The cave was cold, but John didn't care. He sat close to Alira, watching her eyes glow faintly in the dark. She was different, special, and more powerful than anyone could imagine. Dr. Mason worked all night on the neural device, adding more connections. If we can build a stronger link, she might control more than just security systems, Mason said. John nodded. What about ships? Could she control a warship? Mason paused, thinking. Maybe, he said, but her body is too weak every time she connects. It drains her strength. Illyra's screen blinked with new words. I can do more. I feel them. I can feel the machines in the sky. John leaned in. What machines? Old human warships left from the last war, sleeping in orbit. John's eyes widened. If that was true, then above their heads in the darkness of space, ancient ships waited, silent and forgotten. If we can wake one of those ships, Mason whispered, she could have the power to fight the Baron. But there was a problem. They needed to reach space, and their small craft wasn't strong enough. And worse, the Baron's hunters were closing in. That night, Mason found an old mining facility nearby. It had a secret launch pad with a heavy freighter. If we can reach it, we can fly to orbit and find those warships, Mason said. John checked his weapons, his eyes cold and ready. Then let's move before the hunters find us. They traveled at night, Illyra hidden under a cloak, but the Baron's hunters were not far behind, strange alien creatures with sharp senses, sniffing the air, searching for them. At the mining facility, John fought hard. Taking down guards who had sided with the Baron, Mason hacked the doors, opening the launch pad. They reached the freighter just as the hunters arrived. Bullets flew, aliens roared. John held the line, protecting Illyra and Mason. But then, Illyra's eyes flashed, brighter than before. Her mind reached out. Touching the freighter's controls, the engines roared to life. Guns turned on their own, firing at the hunters. John stared in amazement. She's doing it, Mason said. She's controlling the ship with her mind. They launched into the sky, leaving the planet behind. In orbit, Illyra's mind stretched further, searching, feeling. Then she found them, above a dead moon, hidden in shadow, floated an old human warship, rusty but massive. A battleship from centuries ago. Illyra guided the freighter to it. Docking carefully, John stepped onto the old ship, his boots echoing in the empty halls. Lights flickered as Illyra connected herself to the ship's systems. Through the neural link, her mind became one with the battleship. Suddenly, the lights turned on fully. The engines hummed. She's awake, Mason said, watching the screens. She's controlling the entire ship. John looked around, feeling hope for the first time. We have a fighting chance now, he said. But Illyra's body shook, her eyes fluttering. The connection was too strong. Her weak body couldn't handle the strain. On the screen, her words appeared. I can fight, but my body is dying. John's heart sank. We have to find a way to help her, he said to Mason. If she keeps using her power, she won't survive. Mason agreed. Suddenly, alarms blared. Enemy ships had arrived, the Baron's fleet. He had followed them into space, ready to destroy them. Illyra's eyes glowed again, brighter than before. I will protect you, she wrote. The old battleship came to life, its weapons locking on the Baron's ships. John watched from the control deck as Illyra fought with her mind. Lasers fired, missiles launched. The sky lit up with war. The Baron's ships were powerful, but Illyra's control was perfect. She predicted every move, every attack, but her body trembled. Blood trickled from her nose. She can't keep this up, Mason said. She'd die if this continues. John rushed to her side. Illyra, stop, we'll find another way. But she didn't stop. Her mind burned like a star, controlling the ship, destroying enemy after enemy. Then, a final blast. The last enemy ship exploded. Silence returned to space. But Illyra collapsed, her eyes closing. Her body was still, too still. John held her, shaking with fear. Illyra, wake up, he whispered. She opened her eyes weakly, typing one last message. Save me. Find the cure, please. Then she lost consciousness. John looked at Mason, his face hard. We need to find something to heal her. Mason nodded. There are rumors of ancient alien tech that can heal anything. But it's on a forbidden world. John stood, his eyes burning with determination. Then that's where we're going, he said. We're not losing her. Far away. The Baron watched through his ship's cameras. He was furious, but also afraid. She has awakened, he said. If they find the cure, nothing will stop her. The real war was just beginning, and John was ready to fight it. John stood on the deck of the old battleship. He watched Alira lying in her chair, her eyes closed, her body weak and cold. She had saved them. She had destroyed the Baron's fleet, but now she was dying. Dr. Mason checked her vitals, his face full of worry. Her mind is too strong for her body, Mason said. She needs help, or she won't survive. John stared out the window, seeing the stars stretch across the dark sky. He remembered Mason's words. There's an ancient alien tech, a healing machine, hidden on a forbidden planet. John made a decision. We're going to that planet, he said. We'll save her, no matter what. Mason looked at him with concern. That planet is dangerous, John. It's called Zeros, and no one returns from there. John's eyes were hard. Then we'll be the first to return. They set course for Zeros, flying the massive warship through dead space. But the Baron was not done. He had sent a secret signal before his ships were destroyed. Now the deadliest hunters in the galaxy were coming. Mercenaries, assassins, killers, all chasing John and Alira. As the ship flew forward, Alira stirred slightly. Her eyes half open, her screen blinked weakly. I can still feel the machines. She wrote, I will help guide you. John smiled softly. Rest, Alira, but stay with us. She blinked once. A promise that she would try. They reached Zeros after 2 days of travel. The planet was dark and stormy, covered in black clouds and lightning. The surface was full of ruins, broken towers, and ancient statues. It was a graveyard of a dead civilization. Mason scanned the area. The healing machine is underground, deep beneath the ruins, he said. John loaded his weapons. Then we go down. They landed the ship, keeping Alira safe inside John. And Mason stepped onto the planet, the air thick and heavy. The ground cracked under their feet, shadows moving between the ruins. They found an entrance. A wide stone door with alien carvings. It opened slowly, revealing a dark tunnel leading deep underground. John led the way, his rifle ready. Mason followed, carrying the scanner. Inside, the walls were covered with strange symbols, glowing faintly. It feels like the walls are watching us, Mason whispered. John nodded. Stay sharp. Suddenly, the scanner beeped fast. Something's coming, Mason warned. Out of the darkness, creatures attacked, twisted shapes of metal and flesh. Guardians of the ancient place. John fought hard, shooting them down one by one. Their bodies sparked with electricity as they died. But more kept coming. Back on the ship, Alira's screen lit up. They need help, she wrote. She forced her mind to connect to the ship's systems, weak but determined. She found a way to activate the ship's cannons. The ground shook as the warship fired, blasting the ruins and clearing a path. John smiled when he saw the explosions. She's watching over us, he said. They reached a large chamber deep underground. In the center stood the healing machine, a tall tower with glowing blue lights. Mason approached it carefully. This is it, he said. It can rebuild damaged bodies, even restore life. But then, footsteps echoed behind them. The Baron's top hunter arrived, a tall alien in black armor, his eyes glowing red. You should not have come here, the hunter said coldly. John aimed his rifle. You'll have to kill me to stop me. The hunter smiled, drawing his blade. Gladly, he said. They fought hard. The hunter was fast and deadly. John dodged and fired, barely keeping up. Mason worked fast, activating the machine, sending power back to the ship. Alira, we need you, Mason whispered. Back on the ship, Alira felt the signal. She focused all her remaining strength, her mind connected to the machine, guiding its energy. The machine glowed brighter. the energy building up. John was knocked to the ground, the hunter raising his blade to strike. But then, a beam of light shot from the machine, hitting the hunter. His armor cracked, his body burning from the inside. The hunter screamed and fell, defeated by Illyra's mind. John stood, breathing hard. "Thank you, Illyra," he whispered. Mason finished the settings. "We need to bring her here now," he said. They rushed back to the ship, carefully carrying Illyra to the chamber. As they placed her in the machine, the lights wrapped around her body. Slowly, the energy healed her broken nerves, repairing her from within. John watched closely, hoping, praying. Then her fingers moved, her eyes opened fully, her lips trembled, and she whispered for the first time with her own voice. "John." John smiled wide, tears in his eyes. "You did it, Illyra. You're back." She stood slowly, her legs weak but alive. "I can feel my body again," she said. John helped her stand. "We have work to do," he said. "Your father will come, and we'll be ready." Illyra smiled faintly. "For the first time in my life, I'm ready to fight." But deep in space, the Baron received the news. His daughter had awakened fully, and now she was stronger than ever. "Prepare my army," the Baron ordered. "We end this now." The real battle was about to begin, and this time, Illyra was ready to face her father. Illyra stood on shaky legs. She looked at her hands, her fingers moving slowly but surely. For the first time in her life, she could feel her body, the healing machine had worked. John smiled proudly, standing beside her. "You're back, Illyra," he said. Illyra nodded, her voice soft but steady. "Yes, but I'm not the same," she said. "I can still feel the machines more than before, Doctor." Mason checked the scanners. "Her brain is still linked to the ship," Mason said. "But now her body can survive the strain." Illyra looked at the old warship around them. "The ship is alive to me. It listens when I think," she said. "It's like it's part of me." John crossed his arms, thinking, "We can't hide forever," he said. "The Baron will come, and he'll bring his entire army." Illyra looked at John, her eyes glowing faintly. "Then let's give him something to fear," she said. They returned to the warship, preparing for the coming battle. Illyra sat in the command chair, wires and links connected to her, her mind stretched out, touching every system of the ship. Guns, shields, engines, all awakened under her control. The ship's dark halls lit up with power. Ancient weapons hummed to life, missiles armed, lasers charged. It was no longer an old wreck. It was a living weapon, guided by Illyra's mind. Mason watched the energy readings. "She's syncing perfectly," Mason said. "Her control is flawless." John stood on the bridge, looking at the stars. "We need more than one ship," he said. "Are there others out there?" Illyra closed her eyes, searching through the network of old machines. Then she smiled. "Yes, there are more," she said. "Sleeping giants, hidden in space, waiting to be awakened." John grinned. "Then let's wake them up." They traveled through space, following Illyra's mind. One by one, old warships stirred, powered by her connection. Soon, they had a small fleet, each ship stronger than the last. But then, the alarm rang. Enemy ships were approaching, dozens of them. The Baron's armada, led by his flagship, a monstrous vessel shaped like a claw, on the Baron's bridge. The alien noble watched the screens. "My daughter thinks she can challenge me," he said, his voice cold. "Crush them," he ordered. "Leave nothing alive." Back on Illyra's ship, John watched the enemy fleet closing in. "They're here," he said. "It's time." Illyra's eyes glowed brighter, her body steady, her mind sharp. She commanded the fleet with a thought. The old human warships moved into formation, their weapons locking onto the enemy. The battle began, space lit up with fire and explosions. Lasers streaked across the void, missiles chased enemy ships. Illyra was the heart of the fleet, guiding every move. She saw the enemy before they could act. She moved ships like chess pieces, trapping and destroying them. But the Baron's flagship was powerful. It fired massive beams that tore through Elira's fleet. Her body shook with each hit. She's pushing herself too hard. Mason warned. John stood by her side, holding her hand. Stay with us, Elira, he said. You're doing great. Elira's vision blurred, her body burning with pain. But she refused to stop. She typed a message on the screen. I can end this, but I need more power. Mason checked the readings. There's a reactor deep in the ship, he said. If we overload it, she can channel the extra energy. John nodded. Do it. Mason ran to the reactor room, activating the overload process. Energy surged through the ship, flowing into Elira. Her eyes flashed like stars, her voice steady now. I can see everything, she whispered. She guided the fleet into a final attack. Ships formed a spearhead, charging directly at the Baron's flagship. The Baron watched, surprised by their sudden move. Stop them, he shouted, but it was too late. Elira's ship fired a massive blast, piercing the flagship's defenses. John fired the final missile. It struck the heart of the Baron's ship, exploding in a brilliant flash. The flagship broke apart, flames and debris scattering through space. The enemy fleet hesitated, then scattered, leaderless and broken. Silence returned. Elira collapsed in the command chair, her body drained. John caught her, holding her gently. You did it, he said. You won. Elira opened her eyes weakly. We won, she whispered. Mason returned to the bridge, smiling. She recover, he said, but she needs rest. John nodded. She's earned it. But in the distance, a signal echoed through space. A message from the Baron's last backup system. It sent a warning to someone else. A darker force waiting in the shadows. John looked at the fading stars. This isn't over, he said. There's more coming. And we need to be ready. Elira smiled faintly. Next time I'll be even stronger, she said. And John believed her, because now she was not just a mind in a machine. She was a warrior, and the galaxy would remember her name. John stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. The enemy fleet was gone, but something didn't feel right. Elira sat beside him, her body weak but her mind still sharp. We won the battle, John said. But I don't think it's over. Elira nodded, her voice soft. I can feel it too. Something is coming, something darker. Dr. Mason worked on repairing the ship, his hands moving fast, but suddenly, the scanners beeped, showing a new signal. John checked the screen, his face turning cold. It's him, John whispered. The Baron. The screen showed a private message from the Baron himself. A live hologram flickered in front of them. The Baron stood proud, his eyes burning with pride and hate. Hello, daughter, the Baron said, his voice dripping with mockery. I see you've grown strong. Elira stared at him without fear. You tried to kill me, she said. But you failed, the Baron smiled. Not yet, he said. You may have won a fight, but you can't win the war. John stepped forward, his fists clenched. What do you want, Baron? The Baron laughed. I offer you a deal, he said. Come to me, face me in a final duel, man to man. John raised an eyebrow. Why would I trust you? The Baron grinned. Because I have something you want. The hologram shifted, showing the strange device. A glowing alien artifact. This is an ancient relic, the Baron said. It can fully restore Elira's body, make her stronger, faster, unbreakable. Elira's eyes widened. She could feel the power of the artifact even through the screen. But if you don't come, the Baron continued, I will destroy it, and you'll never get another chance, John thought. Carefully, what's the catch? He asked. You duel me, human, the Baron said. If you win, I give you the artifact. If you lose, Elira dies. The room fell silent. Elira looked at John, her eyes worried. You can't trust him, she whispered. John smiled faintly. I know, but we don't have a choice. Dr. Mason shook his head. It's a trap, John. You know it is. John nodded. Of course it is, but we can't ignore it. John looked at the hologram. Fine, he said. I accept your challenge. The Baron smiled widely. Good. I'll send the coordinates. Come alone, or the deal is off. The hologram vanished, leaving them in silence. John checked his weapons, preparing for the fight. Illyra grabbed his arm weakly. Don't go alone, she said. He'll kill you. John smiled. I'm not planning to lose, he said. And I'm not really going alone. John and Mason made a secret plan. Illyra would stay connected to the ship, ready to help from afar. John would face the Baron, but Illyra's mind would be his hidden ally. They reached the coordinates. A dead asteroid floating in space. John landed alone, stepping into a dusty arena built from stone and metal. The Baron waited, holding a massive blade, his armor shining under the cold stars. You came, human, the Baron said. Brave or foolish? Maybe both, John replied, raising his gun and sword. The Baron laughed. Let's begin. The fight was brutal. The Baron moved like a monster, his strength overwhelming. John dodged, striking when he could. But the Baron was too strong. He knocked John down, his blade ready to strike. But then, Illyra's voice whispered in John's ear through his cum. Left side now. John rolled left. Dodging the blade just in time, Illyra guided him. Her mind linked to the battlefield. She could see patterns in the Baron's movements, predicting his attacks. Strike high, then low, she whispered. John obeyed, landing a sharp cut on the Baron's leg. The Baron roared in pain. You're not fighting alone, he snarled. John smiled. No, I'm never alone, he said. The Baron attacked harder, but John moved with precision, with every whisper from Illyra. He stayed one step ahead. Finally, John found his opening. He drove his sword deep into the Baron's side. The Baron fell to his knees, bleeding. John stood over him, breathing hard. It's over, John said. The Baron laughed weakly. Take the artifact, he said. But know this, you've just made worse enemies. With those words, the Baron collapsed, defeated. John took the artifact and returned to the ship. Illyra smiled faintly when she saw him. You did it, she said. John held the artifact. We did it, he replied. Mason examined the artifact, his eyes wide. This can make her stronger than ever, Mason said. But we must be careful. It holds power beyond our understanding. As they prepared to use the artifact, a dark signal echoed through space. Someone else had watched the duel, someone ancient, powerful, and hungry for war. John looked at Illyra. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, he said. Illyra nodded, her strength returning. Together, she whispered. But in the shadows of the galaxy, new enemies were waking up, and the final battle was still ahead. The artifact glowed in Mason's lab. Blue lights danced across Illyra's skin as the device connected with her body. Her eyes were closed, her mind deep in the energy of the ancient tech. John watched silently, his fists clenched. She's changing, Mason whispered. The artifact was not just healing Illyra. It was making her stronger, faster. Her body was rebuilding, muscle by muscle, nerve by nerve. Hours passed. Then Illyra opened her eyes. They glowed bright like stars. She stood up, her legs steady, her voice clear and powerful. I can feel everything, she said. Every ship, every machine, I can hear them. John smiled, proud and relieved. You're ready, he said. But Mason looked worried. Her power is immense, but there's something else, Mason said. I intercepted a transmission. Someone was watching your duel with the Baron. Illyra's face turned serious. Who? She asked. Mason showed them the data. It's an ancient enemy, older than the Baron's people, he said. They're called the Voidborn, machines mixed with alien minds. They want to consume everything. John shook his head. Of course. It never ends, he muttered. They're coming for us. For Illyra's power, Mason said. Illyra closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind. She felt it. A massive fleet moving through the dark, cold space. Cold minds, hungry, watching. They're close, she whispered. We don't have much time. John stood tall, loading his weapons. "Then we make our stand," he said. "We fight them here." Alira nodded. "I'll lead the fleet," she said. "But I need you with me, John." John smiled. "Always," he replied. They prepared. The ancient warships. Alira stood in the command center, her mind linked to every ship. She was the heart of the fleet. John stood by her side, Mason monitoring the systems. Then the darkness arrived. The Voidborn fleet appeared, ships made of metal and bone, moving like living nightmares. Their leader spoke through a hollow transmission. "Give us the girl, and we will spare your world." Alira stepped forward, her voice sharp. "I am not yours to take," she said. The Voidborn laughed, a sound like rusted metal grinding. "Then you will all die." The battle began. The sky exploded with fire, lasers, and missiles. Alira's fleet fought with perfect unity, guided by her mind. Every ship moved like her own body, blocking attacks, striking with precision. John led the ground forces, repelling Voidborn drones that landed on the planet. He fought fiercely, his blade cutting through metal bodies. But the enemy was endless. "Alira, we need more power," John called. Alira's eyes glowed brighter. She pushed harder, her mind burning like fire. She activated the artifact inside her, unlocking hidden strength. Suddenly, her body lifted off the ground. Energy flowed from her into the ships, boosting their weapons. The human fleet struck back harder, pushing the Voidborn back. But the enemy leader arrived, a massive figure. Part machine, part shadow, it landed on the planet, marching towards the command center. "I'll deal with it," John said, running to face the creature. The leader was huge, towering over John. "You are weak." "Human," it said. John raised his blade. "Maybe, but I'm not alone," he replied. They fought. Steel against steel, sparks flying. John was fast, but the creature was stronger. Just when John was about to fall, Alira appeared, her body shining with energy. "You don't touch him," she said. She unleashed her power, a wave of force that shattered the ground. The Voidborn leader staggered, trying to fight back. But Alira's mind was too powerful. She controlled the machines around them, turning the enemy's own weapons against it. John stood up, smiling. "Together," he said. Together, they struck the final blow, destroying the Voidborn leader in a burst of light. The rest of the enemy fleet broke apart, lost without their master. Silence fell, the sky clear once more. Alira stood, breathing hard but alive. John hugged her tightly. "You did it," he sighed. "No," she whispered. "We did it." Mason smiled, looking at the stars. "We survived," he said. "But there will always be more threats," John said. Alira nodded. "Then we'll face them, side by side," she said. The galaxy would never forget the day a human and an alien girl stood together. Not as enemies, but as protectors. Alira was no longer a gift, no longer a joke. She was a warrior, a leader, and her story was just beginning.